Habakkuk 2:14. For the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh, as the waters cover the sea. Woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, and puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken, also that thou mayest look on their nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory. The eyes of the world are watching the fraud, the lies, and the shame of Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, be exposed. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Rekah HaKodash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. The would-be judges of the earth, the 144,000, which are men. All right. And the rest of the scattered elect. That will be those that are spoken about in Revelation 7:7, 9:7, Salakia. The wives and children of the 144,000 that are scattered among the heathen nations, that have the appearance of the heathen nations. This is not a black only thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with a lesson in truth. And Shameful Spitting is upon the glory. Esau Edom is being exposed. All right. And I got a couple videos that I'd like to play. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play a few seconds of this one. About a minute, 19 seconds or so.
He came with a smile and a camera. He said he was here to tell Africa's story. But what nobody knew was that he wasn't filming a documentary. He was mapping secrets. He wasn't hunting truth. He was hunting targets. It started quietly. A man with fair skin, clean shoes, and a French accent landed at Ouagadougou International Airport with a tourist visa and a press badge clipped to his shirt. He told customs officials he was a freelance journalist, here to understand Burkina Faso's security challenges and share local voices with the world. He smiled, spoke in fluent French, and said he admired President Ibrahim Traoré's courage. It's rare to see young African leaders who stand up to the West, he said. People believed him. Why wouldn't they? He acted polite. He offered water to taxi drivers. He handed out pens to school kids. He bought tea
and all the time he was a whole devil and was caught being a spy. Like it said in Habakkuk 2:15, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, and putteth the bottle to him, and maketh him drunken, also that he may look upon their nakedness, look upon their weakness, how they can exploit. Because unfortunately, this man who's basically becoming a folk hero, Ibrahim Traoré here, all right, by doing what he's doing, standing up to the wickedness of Esau Edom, the so-called white man, specifically those of the West, they're going to eventually kill this man. And I know he has, armed security and everyone's around him. And the rest of the nations are rallying behind him. But you're going to either have some insiders jealous who want to take his place, because Esau want to put his own puppets in there so they can continue to keep the richest continent on the planet poor by extorting all its wealth unto pale people and away from the people that it belonged to, which is why I love this image so much, because this is what Esau Edom, the so-called white man, has been doing in Africa. All right. This is what he's been doing. You can see his right hand putting one nation against another, aiming their weapons at one another, and then his left hand is underneath the soil, still in the wealth, the gold, the gas, the oil, the diamonds. All right. And mostly Amalek is doing this as well. The small hats, the ones who always cry anti-semantics every time you point out their wickedness. Right? This image is just so powerful. Okay, because that is exactly what they've been doing and continue to do. And that's what this guy was here to continue. So let me find this video. Is it on here? Yeah, this one. And she kind of is going to give a brief breakdown of what's happening in the continent of Africa, specifically the western portion of Africa, which is Mali, Senegal, Benin, those areas, the Congo, because those areas are still full of Israelites. All right, you got to remember it's Ham and everybody's in Africa at this point, because you got Moab and Ammon and Esau and all those people, but the primary people in Africa, that land belonged to the Hamites, the sons of Ham, and because of the similitudes in appearance, the Israelites during the fall of Jerusalem in 70 AD, millions of them fled into West Africa and established West Africa, which is the reason why the portion of the map that she's going to show you in this video, in the 1800s and 1700s, that was referred to as Negro land. Negroes and Africans were never considered the same people until after slavery. Okay, let's go to the receipts before I show you the video. And here you are. The differences between it, because the Negroes, so-called, come from Shem, and the Africans, so-called, come from Ham. They're two different races of dark people. Hence the reason why Negroes, all right, you can read the definition for yourself, but hence the reason why Negroes were being sold as slaves by Hamites. And so Esau Edom, his false philosophies and lies, we were all taught that Africans were selling Africans. No, Africans were selling Israelites. Hamites were selling Shemites. I recently acquired a video that I do intend to do a lesson on, with Billy Graham giving you the breakdown that Negroes are from Shem and not from Ham. And Billy Graham was telling you that. So yeah, I do. I'm trying to think that Brother Zaharia Howard may have been the one that sent me that. But I do plan to use that video in a lesson. All right, just thought I'd mention it here because it kind of falls into line as to what I'm doing. So let's go back to the video that the lady, this one here. So let me get the sound ready. Okay.
The solution is not to take Africans and move them to Europe. The solution is to free Africa from certain Europeans who exploited and allow these people to live off what they have. This is called the CFA franc, a colonial currency that France prints for 14 African nations, and by virtue of which it exploits the resources of this nation. This is a child working in a gold mine in Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso is one of the poorest nations in the world. For Burkina Faso, which has gold, France prints colonial currency. In return, it demands that 50% of everything Burkina Faso exports ends up in the coffers of the French treasury. The gold that this child crawls into a tunnel to extract mostly ends up in the coffers of the French state. So the solution is not to take
absolutely.
Africans and
So
move them to Europe.
the labors of that child, who's more likely an Israelite, not a Hamite, but either way, his labors makes pale people wealthier. And this is how, and that's nothing new. This is how the so-called white men in the West, in America, and in the West, in Europe, in matter of fact, the South Africans, the Australians, is all the same thing. They exploited the labors and the lands of the melanated peoples in the islands and all the places that they took for themselves, and they collect the wealth from the people and keep the people poor. Same thing with Haiti. All right. And the reason why Haiti is so extra poor is because Haiti actually did what what Ibrahim Traore did, and they fought back and actually killed and gave them the deserved vicious deaths that they deserved, the slave plantation owners back in the 1700s. And the West and France have been punishing them and making them pay ever since then, taking all the wealth and all, and exploiting Haiti. And they've been doing that to every place, especially places where the Israelites are. Okay. So the truth of the matter is here, we can get this. This is the total application of adjusting someone's substance to yourself, all right, through unrighteous decrees, all right. This is Ecclesiastes 10:8, and it reads, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. So they translate the wealth and the power to themselves. And this has been the MO in the entire rulership of Esau Edom, the so-called white man. All right. And the self-proclaimed white man. And he gets angry when you try to make yourself equal with him. All right. It's like, no, you are not allowed to be wealthy off of your inventions. You are not allowed to be wealthy off of your labor. I am. All right. I will give you the crumbs, and I will take the bulk of everything. I will live in mansions and $1 million condos, travel the world, own multi-million-dollar yachts, own football, basketball teams, soccer teams. All right. I will do that. You can, if you're fast enough, you can run up and down the field on one of my teams, and I'll give you a couple million, which is crumbs to me. That has been their mindset. The world is waking up to them. All right.
Burkina Faso has just handed a giant gold mine to Russia's Nordgold, covering 52.8 kilometers square and worth over $88 million.
On se sent en famille en ce sens que la Russie est une famille aussi pour l'Afrique.
But why is Burkina Faso trusting Russia with its gold while cutting ties with the West? Let's find out. When Burkina Faso granted a sweeping new gold mining license to Russia's Nordgold, the world barely blinked. Yet beneath the quiet headlines, something profound was unfolding. A reconfiguration of power, loyalty, and survival not just for a country, but for an entire region gasping for independence from old masters. Gold has long whispered secrets in the halls of Burkina Faso's history. Once known primarily for its cotton fields, the country has, over the past 2 decades, transformed into one of West Africa's glittering gold capitals. Buried beneath the dry Saheli...
New FDA-cleared rinse-free spray for removing UTI-causing bacteria is here!
In soil lies treasure that fuels not just national budgets, but dreams of autonomy. Around 70 tons of gold now flow from Burkina Faso's mines every year, a volume powerful enough to reach...
Dreams of autonomy. I had to stop it right there, which is a word that Esau Edom, the self-professed white man, all right, who labeled himself white, he's not white, and that's not his nationality. He completely does not allow that word to even be in the vocabulary of so-called black people. He will not allow autonomous wealth of anyone except himself. He doesn't want, and even if that autonomous wealth has nothing to do with him, he just will not allow you to do it. Okay? He is a selfish, covetous man. And every time the so-called Negroes try to achieve autonomous wealth, the animals come to take it. All right? Watch the trailer of 40 acres. The animals are the Edomites.
Reshape the fate of a nation if properly harnessed, or to keep it shackled if stolen through foreign manipulation. And so the news that a vast 52.8 square kilometer site, known as the New Gold Project, had been handed over to a Russian firm struck a nerve that few dared to publicly touch. Officially, the deal looks straightforward. Nordgold is expected to extract more than 20.2 tons of gold over an 8-year window, promising 51 billion CFA francs, around $88.7 million to the government, and an extra 7 billion francs, approximately $12.2 million to Burkina Faso's Mining Development Fund. A project creating 204 jobs, injecting liquidity into an economy still limping from sanctions and isolation. But real power is rarely about numbers on a page. In truth, the Nordgold deal marked a silent but irreversible shift away from a century of Western financial dominance and towards a new model where the spoils of Africa might finally be negotiated on terms set by Africans themselves.
So there you go. The nations of the world are up in arms, and they're against, what's the scripture says, are you now as weak as we, and what's happened here is that the reason why Burkina Faso is linked onto Russia is because it's prophecy. This is Ezekiel the 38th chapter. And it reads, "And the word of Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Gog and Magog, and the chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and prophesy against him," because, the Lord is using Gog and Magog, that land, using the Edomites in that land, because it's not Japhet. Japhet's been, if you understand no history and prophecy, you'd understand that the Russians are two Edomites collectively. There's some among them are some Israelites, but nevertheless, that's the Edomite nation as well. Matter of fact, all of the Euro-Asia, Western Asia, Edomite nations of Europe, those are primarily Edomites. All right, that took that land over. Japhet was driven out of his land, because you're always gonna have some dummy that come on there and talks about some Japhet. All right, Japhet was driven out of Western Asia, which they fraudulently call Europe now, and Eastern Asia, where the Russians sit today, by Alexander of Macedon. Alexander the Great of history of Macedon is an Edomite, and his armies were primarily Edomites. And they took over Japhet, integrated Japhet into their army, and removed Japhites from their land, and those became Edomite lands. That's the actual history. That's what actually happened. The Lord acknowledges it, just like he still acknowledges Africa as the land of Ham. He acknowledges the land, Asia as Gog and Magog, dummies. All right. So it says, so the Lord is against them as well, but he's using them, all right, as a tool to fulfill prophecy. Verse 3. "And say, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, and chief prince of Meshach and Tubal, and I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth with all thy armies and horses and horsemen, and all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet, Gomer and all his bands, and the house of Tomar and the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee." It even tells you in the Apocrypha that the dragons of Arabia will be joined unto them. So Russia has mounted these allies that are totally against the West. All right. And they are going to be a guard unto Ham, unto the Hamites. All right. Unto the Arabs, unto these nations that I just read. Persia, Ethiopia, Libya, and all those brick nations that are joined unto them. It's all a part of prophecy. All right. "And be thou prepared, and prepare thyself, and thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and thou shalt be a guard unto them." Burkina Faso is among that. And this is outright defiance against Esau, Edom, on a level that's never been seen before. This kind of has the same effect of Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans being on the streets of America, declaring the fall of America in the Bible and claiming their Israelite heritage in the Bible. And this is very shameful. This white male is being put on display, this pale male, so-called, this white man, so-called, being put on display as a criminal. With the brown man, He's not black at all. He's fucking brown for you dumbasses who are colorblind. All right, this brown man that they're gonna fraudulently and very maliciously call black. I told you a million times to look up black and what it means. That's why they put that label before people, that you are a black people. Go look the word up. I'm not even gonna explain it. He's physically brown, but the fact that this man is showing this man with his hands up as the damn criminal, which it should be, because they are. Every place in the world where they're living, where their houses, their homes, and their businesses are, is stolen fucking land. Like it or not. All right, including the Russians too, because they don't belong where they are. All right, the Edomites belong in Mount Seir. Okay, that's where they belong. Not in Europe. That's not the original cave home. Their original cave home was Mount Seir, Petra in Jordan. Okay. And the Lord is using them to fulfill prophecy to bring on this third world war. And part of that, and part of that prophecy being filled is the shame and the downfall of Esau, Edom. Okay, let's get a scripture. This is Isaiah 14 and 11. And it says, thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy vows, and the worms is spread under thee, and worms cover thee. All right? The system is decaying. Worms is associated with death. The societies are dying. All right? In so many ways, financially and physically. They're not producing. The men are not very virile, and mainly that's because of other white males and all the way that they attack the food, the water, the air. All right, and just the Lord said He made them small among the heathen. Jacob's always been able to outproduce, and make children. Well, Edomites can't, and because Edomite women have no problem having babies when they get with brown men. Okay. All that in vitro and all the stuff that these Edomites have to do. Shame is covering them in every way whatsoever. And they're angry. I'll play this next video. And the result of this is his policy failing worldwide, with the orange Cheeto here in the leading the West with all these sanctions, which are completely backfiring. Well, I've already broken down to you that if you think that they're going to bring manufacturing back to America, you are out of your mind. It's going to cost way too much money. No one's educated to work in factories because most of their youth, the ones that can afford it, or could afford it, or thought they could afford it, went to college, all right, and got these degrees in these useless areas, which were more catered to the very insecure way of living of consumerism. You can't consume your way to wealth. All right, you have to be a manufacturer, and these manufacturing companies, they cannot afford and will not bring their countries back to America. And even if they did, they're going to use AI and robots and not you people to get you on UBI, so universal basic income. And in order for you to receive that, you're going to have to take the micro C-HIP, the MOTB. All roads lead to it. And that's where we're headed. And especially with all this chaos that's going to come, and the way to make the chaos go away is going to be the UBI and the MOTB. All right. Let me play this video because we're dangerously close to this. All right.
Really don't think the average American understands the implications of what's about to happen. All of the European countries who used to be our biggest allies are now reorganizing themselves economically and militarily to survive without us, which is good for Europe. And probably good for Ukraine. Hopefully Europe will back Ukraine. I mean, they have $300 billion of Russia's money in their fucking banks they could give to Ukraine, which would probably let Ukraine do quite a bit of damage to Russia, especially if they tell Ukraine that they're allowed to hit Moscow with the missiles and shit they get. Shit could get very interesting. If Ukraine defends itself without the United States, that's it. That's game over. No one will look to the United States as world leaders ever again. They're already to the point where people are joking about how United States is a third world country with a Gucci belt. And we are. This country is a shithole. And I never thought I'd live to see the end of the American empire. But Trump really is our Nero. And if you don't know what that means, you need to read more books.
Which is something that the average American doesn't do. And what they also don't realize is that the European nations together cannot survive against Russia. And many of them are already trying to link up with Russia to do business with Russia. That's the same way the African nations are looking to join unto Russia and standing up. And all of them have backed this guy, Ibrahim Traore. The same thing is going to happen in Europe. Prophecy will be fulfilled. Everybody's going to fire their arrows, the ICBMs, at America when that time comes, at America and the Israelis. Basically, at this point already, it is America and the Israelis against the whole world. And that is going to be the end result. And America and the Israelis are going to lose horrifically and be wiped off the face of the earth. The only difference is that the land of Israel will be rebuilt, and the land of America will forever be, which is Babylon the Great, will forever be a memorial to what happens when you go against when you go against Yahweh. His name is not Hashem. It's actually Yahweh. Okay? It's not the name. His name is Yahweh. All right? And Yahweh is going to set up his kingdom here on earth via his son, Yahweh Shai. King David and the new world government will be those. Matter of fact, let's just read it. It's going to be a heavenly world government here on earth, thus saith the Bible. That's the new Jerusalem coming down in Revelation, endgame. Okay? When it tells you that I saw a new heaven and a new earth, and Jerusalem coming down from heaven. So your new heavenly roll call sounding off right about now. This is Revelation 7:4. And it reads, "And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the sons of Israel. The tribe of Judah, which is the tribe that the Lord came from, who the world ignorantly, fraudulently, and falsely calls Jesus Christ. He's a Judite, all right? Of the tribe of Judah was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zebulun was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin was sealed 12,000. And in verse 9, that great multitude, those are the wife and children of the 144,000. That's the rest of the elect. All right. And of course, the few men that may be among them that were believers, but not teachers. But only 144,000 are going to be the judges. That is your new government. The Bible told you who your new rulers were going to be. And they're going to enforce the law, statutes, and commandments of the Bible upon the population of the earth. They're going to judge the nations according to the laws of the Bible. Point blank, period. Not the Babylonian Talmud, not the Quran, not the Book of the Dead, or any other book. All right, and they won't need the physical book, because this book will be in our inward parts. We will know every dot and every tittle and the world will be judged in righteousness finally. And that's where we're heading. All right, to a mass collapse, chaos, darkness, death, tragedy in the streets. And if the Spirit of the Lord is not with you, you will not make it. Okay? You're not gonna make it out of here. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Wakaha Kwadash Kwam Yasurala Abad Babal.